Good morning. This is Steve Hoffacker. Welcome to another of our professional webinar series created to give occupational therapists, physical therapists, and other CAPS professionals an opportunity to engage with other professionals to keep up with the field, to learn new products and techniques, and to gain a continuing education. This program is being recorded for use later on. You can always go to the website and find it there. This morning, I'm happy to introduce Herman Walker, who's been with us a few times already. Herman and I go back a few years, and he always has a really good message to present on devices in the home, safety devices. His program today, Fall Prevention in the Home. I know he's got some good things to share with us. Feel free to reach out to Herman during the program. You can put something in the chat box, and I will bring that up to him. You can raise your hand, or when we're all done, and you'll have time for questions and answers. So without any further ado, we'll turn the program over to Herman. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for that fantastic introduction. And just to give a little bit of background, or my resume, if you will, I have over 15 years of experience dealing with fall prevention programs. I helped to establish the fall prevention program for IU Hospital, which is the largest hospital network here in the state of Indiana. I also have spent numerous hours, overnight hours, weekend hours, the whole 9 yards working with VA hospitals throughout the country on their fall prevention programs. And then also I have done a lot of work working with individuals in their homes, making sure that their homes are safe, trying to work so that people can use especially the restroom, but use the restroom independently and safely while minimizing falls and minimizing injuries. And I have found throughout the years that this has been a very, very important topic and an important subject matter. And so Steve was nice enough to invite me, and I prepared a quick slide presentation. And so I'm going to review that. And then if you have any questions or if there's anything that I can help you with, please feel free to just ask outright. I have no trouble being interrupted, or I believe there's a chat feature up here that you can use as well. So just to begin, the title of the presentation is called Fall Prevention in the Home. And I like to begin with this slide because this is something that I hope that all of us know, but as a population, our population demographics are rapidly changing. We are an aging demographic, and there are a lot of different source materials that you can use on this. And it's just important to remember, especially if you're working with individuals in their homes, if you're in charge of home design, understanding that the statistics bear out that increasingly you are going to be working with an older clientele is very important, because as we all age, our mobility levels change. And so being able to talk to our customers, talk to our clients about the challenges that all of us will undertake as we age becomes very, very important. And so here are just a couple of facts about aging and aging in place, and why this topic is so important. And as you can see here, as of 2014, there were over 56 million people in the US over the age of 65. And that number is just going to continue to grow. And as that number grows, what we're seeing is that increasingly, this is a demographic group that wants to remain at home. There are two key points concerning this demographic. Number one, this is a demographic that wants to stay at home, and also this is a demographic that has money. And so the idea about older Americans not having finances, not having financial resources, that is outdated thinking. That is thinking from the 1920s. Today, that's not true. And so you may find yourself working with people or working on homes involving people where they are building their forever home. Maybe they're in their 50s and they're in their 60s, and they're building their forever home, their last home. And so having an understanding that as this group ages, what are some of the challenges that they're going to have if they want to remain independent in the restroom? What are some of the products that we have that can keep people at home? Those kinds of things will be increasingly important. So, these numbers come to us courtesy of the CDC, the Center for Disease Control. And when we talk about disabilities, as you can see with the graph here, there are a lot of people out there that are dealing with disabilities. As you can see here, this is maybe the key number here. 13.7%, about 14% of the general population deals with some sort of disability that can impact you when you're designing a home, when you're consulting with the family. And so when you're meeting with these people, when you're working with these people, it's okay to ask, okay, does anyone in your family have any disability? Do you have a disability? Do you have difficulty getting up and down the stairs? Have you and or, your wife, husband, have you fallen? Are you a fall risk? What is your medical history? Those types of things are important, and sometimes maybe for people that are not embedded within the industry, that might be a difficult question to ask or a difficult subject to bring up. But I honestly believe that we are to the point now you are doing a disservice to your client or to the job that you're potentially being hired to do if you're not asking these questions, because as the numbers show, and as you can see here, there's a good percentage chance that this could come into play. And so understanding that ahead of time and then being able to work with your customer or with your client so that you can best mitigate some of these scenarios can be very beneficial and can help them a lot. I like to call this a Google slide because when it comes to the cost of a patient fall or a fall, whether it's in a home or in a facility, is astronomical. And the important thing to remember about this is that the numbers are really big. And I imagine that, listening to this, we have a lot of different people that are involved in a lot of different fields, but patient and or resident falls are very important, whether you're working with a facility, whether you're working with a hospital, an assisted living facility, or if you're working at home. Falls are very costly, and not only do they have an economic impact, but they also have a personal impact for your potential client. I've often said that a lot of times if you're working with someone and they fall and they break their hip, depending upon their age and their health, that can essentially be a death sentence for them. And so understanding that and again being able to work with your clients with that is very important. And so here, as we see the typical age for falls, 20 or 30% of older people tend to sustain moderate or severe injuries when they fall. And the CDC tells us that 1 in 4 Americans over the age of 65 will fall just this year. 1 in 4. And so when you're working with this demographic group, don't be afraid to ask the question, are you a fall risk? Is this a place where you are going to be, where you want to live out your years? If you don't want to be in an assisted living facility or in a nursing home at 75 or 80 years old, what can we do now within the home to help to prevent that and to keep you in your home safely and independently for as long as possible? And then here, again, just to hammer the point home, One in four falls for senior Americans every year. One in five falls result in a head injury or a broken bone. And there is a senior falls every 20 minutes in the United States. And just so you know, because a lot of times there are a lot of people that have a lot of different numbers and a lot of different facts. This comes from the CDC, the Center for Disease Control. So it is an issue that all of us should be aware of. Now, when we expand that issue out and we begin to look at the homes for people that want to live in their homes, well, what do we see? Well, unfortunately, what we find is that only about 10% of all homes currently in the country are what they call age-ready homes in the United States. And this comes from the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development. And depending upon what area of the country you are from, you can see, kind of whether you're from the West or the Northeast or the South, what percentage of homes in your area are age ready. And this is important for a number of reasons. Number one, I kind of hopefully hammered you over the head with how serious this issue this is and the changing demographics. And then we look at our homes and we don't see our homes matching the demographic reality that our clientele is increasingly in need of. And so from a monetary standpoint or from a marketing standpoint, you can actually find yourself to be ahead of the curve if you are talking about these issues, if you are discussing these issues, if maybe you're trying to bring clients on board and maybe there are other entities that are not talking to this 60-year-old couple. Hey, what happens when you turn 75? What happens when you turn 80? Is this a home where you want to try to be in place there for the rest of your life? Because what we are looking at when we see home data is that homes, in terms of modifications, in terms of being ready for this demographic group, they are just way behind. So when we talk about falls and falls that occur in the home, there are a lot of areas that are more dangerous than other areas. You should know that the number one area for falls in the home are, of course, the stairs. The stairs are number one. If someone falls in their home, the statistical likelihood is that they fell going up or down the stairs. Number two is in the bathroom. And the bathroom, there are times when I have been fortunate enough to be a consultant on a lot of projects, and I will freely tell people that the bathroom is the most dangerous spot in the home. And there are a number of reasons why. First and foremost, it is the area where people most want privacy, which is understandable. And then, secondly, it is also the area where people are least likely to ask for help. And so, even if you have something where maybe you have someone where there may be an occupational therapist going to the home, you may find that the occupational therapist might be working in the kitchen area or they might be working in the TV room. A lot of times they're not working in the bathroom, getting in and out of the shower or in toileting. And those are the areas where falls are most likely to take place. When you're looking in the bathroom in particular, for a long time, there was widespread belief that falls were most likely to occur in the shower or in bathing in a tub environment. There is actually some new data which has come in from the National Institute of Health, which now shows that falls are actually most likely to occur in and around the toilet, in and around the commode. And so when you're talking about falls and where falls are occurring, it's certainly now true in a hospital environment. If they had a patient that fell in the hospital, that patient fell because they were getting up in the middle of the night. They didn't want to use the bedside commode or whatever, and they went to the bathroom and they fell in and around the commode. And that is the case in the home environment as well. So when you're talking with your clients, when you're designing areas, it is important to have the discussion about how your clients, how your customers are going to use the restroom. And as they age and as mobility levels decline, how do we keep these people using the restroom independently? So we are all, I think, familiar with the ADA guidelines with in terms of restrooms. But if we're not, I just wanted to quickly review this because I am fortunate enough where I do travel the country and I do speak to a lot of groups in terms of ADA compliance, what we can do beyond the ADA. I have, I'll say, sadly found that a lot of times when you have designers and they are working with clients who may have a disability, a lot of times they'll just do an ADA setup in a private home because that's all they know. And I, for one, think that the ADA regulations are woefully inadequate for what is really needed to keep someone independent at home. But just to give you a quick idea, uh, these images that you see come to us courtesy from the ADA and the state of Georgia. And if you look here. Here we have our ADA configuration where we have our commode. Our commode is 18 inches off of the wall. And then we have our standard grab bar here, which is 36 inches long behind the commode. And then you have a second grab bar here, which is 42 inches long. It has to be a foot off of the back wall, and it has to end 54 inches off of the back wall. And so anytime you see an ADA compliant restroom, which obviously or most likely occurs in a public setting, this is the design that you're getting. And so for a person that's in a wheelchair that wants to use the restroom independently, there are two ways that they can use the restroom in this public or ADA design. The first image that you see here, this is what they call a lateral approach. And in this approach, you can see the person in the wheelchair. They come in laterally. They then reach over the commode. They grab this back grab bar. They then slide themselves off of the wheelchair onto the commode. They then grab this grab bar here to straighten themselves, and then when they're finished, they do the same thing in reverse. The second way is what they call a lateral approach. And with the lateral approach, the wheelchair comes in here beside the commode. You then grab the edge of the commode. You then drag yourself onto the commode. You then straighten yourself up with this grab bar here. And then again, when you're finished, you do the same thing in reverse. Every single person that you see that is in a wheelchair, and we've discussed it is a considerable population base in this country, when they want to use the restroom in public, they are doing one of these two transfers. I personally think that this is terrible. And there are a number of issues that I have with this, even though this meets full ADA specifications. The first thing here is that this is a lateral approach, which I personally am a fan of because I think it's safer. The problem with a lateral approach here is that you have to grab the edge of the toilet rim in order to um, pull yourself from the wheelchair onto the commode. If you hear me and you are designing public facilities, imagine going into a restroom and thinking every time you wanted to use the restroom safely, you had to grab the edge of the toilet seat to pull yourself over. I don't think that's very hygienic, and I don't think that's very good. Up here, this is a lateral transfer. The problem with lateral transfers is that it requires the person to essentially reach across the commode to grab this back grab bar. And a lot of times when you're dealing with people in their private homes. I will see developers that will just put an ADA setup in a private home. And I want you to look at this picture and then look at this picture. Can you imagine a 75 or an 80-year-old person trying to make this reach here? Can you see between picture 2 and picture 3 how a fall could occur? How someone could lose their balance and end up falling besides the commode? These are the things when you design a restroom in a private setting that I hope that you think about as you come away from this presentation. The other thing to remember about this is that when I am working with clients in their homes, the first question that I will ask them is, okay, how do you prefer to do your transfers? Which side, what is your strong side? Because whenever possible, when I am designing that restroom, I want that individual to be leading with their strong side, which for most people would be their right hand. Look at this picture here. Now imagine that this person is left-handed. That means because of the design of this restroom, we are asking him to lead with his left hand or with his offhand when he does his transfer. That is a recipe for disaster. The other added thing that I'll say about this is that as we age, all of us, as we age, the difference between what we can do with what is for most of us our strong side, our right-hand side, versus our left or our weak side only increases. This, again, this in this example would be a terrible design for a restroom for him. At minimum, this restroom should be designed so that at least he's able to do a transfer from his left-hand side. And so again, when you are working with your clients and you're working with your customers, make sure you ask them, okay, how do you prefer to do your transfer? I have never worked with a client on an individual home, designing an individual restroom, where I didn't know all of the participants, whether they were right-handed or left-handed. That is very, very important. So when we're talking about how we can make things easier for our clients, I am a very big believer of support arms. I think support arms are much more effective than what you saw with that grab bar configuration. They're much more hygienic. They are easy to install, and they're really not that expensive. You know, all you have to do from an installation point is find the stud in the wall. Once you find the stud in the wall, you can put in support arms very easily. The only thing to remember with your support arms is that you want your support arms to be able to fold up into the wall so that you're not in essence creating a cage around the commode. And whenever possible, I believe the support arm should be height adjustable. And let me move this over here. This support arm comes from a company called Ropox, which is a Danish company. They make excellent stuff. And so their support arms both fold up into the wall. They're also height adjustable. And then the second one, these support arms come from a company called Pressolit. They also make height adjustable support arms. Both products are outstanding, and in a private home setting especially, can be very helpful. The Pressolit support arms that you see here, in addition to being height adjustable, you can also put in a wall track, which is very easy to do, and that allows the support arms to move not just vertically, but laterally. And I'm going to play this video here. You can see how easy they are to move up and down. And you can see with this design, you can see they're easy to move up and down laterally, and we'll see why that's important coming up. And when you're talking about, okay, how can I keep a person independent in their home? This is a simple addition that you can use. It is vastly superior to doing an ADA companies, like you can see here, this is a burgundy trim. They come in a wide variety of styles and a wide variety of colors. They both have support arms that are suitable for obese users, so weight is not a factor. And so if you are working with customers and you think that mobility can become an issue, I I beg you, please do not just go to a standard ADA design and call it a day. There are options out there that can help your clients a lot better. Did I get was there a question?
There is. I am so
Yes.
sorry. I got the Presolate name. What was the first company you mentioned with the twin lines?
Ropox, Ropox.
Ropox.
Yes,
Thank
yes,
you.
and yeah, and when we're finished, if you have a project or you have clients in mind that might benefit from this, feel free to reach out to me or reach out to Steve, and we can put you in contact with either company, and they can help you out. Like I said,
Fantastic. Thank
they're
you.
both really, really good. This next video that I'm going to play, I really like this video. This is a video that was done by Presolate, and this is it shows the support arms, and I really like it because for the sake of brevity, I'm going to ask them to move. See if I can move audio here, because it really shows how much easier, safer, and better transfers are when you're using the support arms instead of just the grab bars. And that's why I like this video so much. And so as we see here, this is our first model. Our first model is a double amputee, and um, pause it here. I was privileged enough to work with a lot of double amputees when I was working with veterans when I was doing VA work. And so as you can see here with our first example, you remember the imaging that we had doing the lateral transfer. Here we have the support arms. This support arm just folds up. Watch how much easier and safer this transfer is. This would be our lateral transfer. And you see, much easier, much more hygienic, much safer. The other thing you will note is that when you have a support arm over here that's height adjustable, it means we can adjust the support arm, if you can see where my cursor is going up and down, to the exact height that is appropriate for each individual user. So if you think about like if you're working with an elderly couple where you might have where both want to be independent using the restroom, you might have the husband might be 6'3", the wife might be 5'2". Because you put these support arms in place and you have them where they're height adjustable, it means they can each in a matter of seconds adjust the support arm so that it's at the appropriate height for each of them. That minimizes your injury risk and can keep both of them independent when they're using the commode. And you can see how much easier, more hygienic, and safer that is. The second one here, I'm not a fan of because the model that they picked for this is a really good in shape guy. The people that I have been privileged enough to work with a lot of times will have difficulty doing that. That's why I prefer the lateral and the more side approach instead of the straight on approach. This next one, this is my favorite video. And I like this because first, as you can see, when the video progresses a little bit, he's a big guy. I would guess he's probably 6'4" or 6'5", and he is in excess of 500 pounds. I don't have any slides regarding obesity and obesity levels, But you should also know we are also getting bigger and fatter. And so obesity levels will come into play when you're dealing with the clientele or people that want to remain in their homes. And so when you can see him, you can imagine someone his size, and then say maybe if he were married to a wife and she were 5'2" and 120 pounds. Well, it's foolish to think that they would both use the support arms at the same height, at the same width. And so having that adjustability becomes very important. And again, this is very easy to install. If you can put in a grab bar, you can put in these support arms. You can see in this first example, he is a standing user. I spent a lot of time talking about people in wheelchairs and their transfers. Support arms are important for people who are standing as well. All all of us know of someone who is a standing user, but statistically needs assistance getting up and down off of the commode. And remember, we are dealing with a space where after the stairs is statistically potentially the second most likely place where an injury can occur. Here he is here doing a lateral transfer. Again, you see we have that support arm. That support arm is at the exact right height. It allows him to do the support arm. It allows him to do the transfer and remain independent. Very, very good. And if he were to have, if you'll notice here within the picture, you see this support arm is rather high, but because the support arm is height adjustable, the support arm can easily be adjusted down if our next user were 5'2", let's say, and 120 pounds. And that's what makes the system so good. Here, the example I showed you earlier was from Presolite. This is from Ropox, who also has some excellent features. You'll notice with the Ropox one, there's a knob here, and you just pull the knob out, and that's how you can move the support arm up and down. And this is very easy to install. Does not take it goes in the exact same way a grab bar would work. And you can see in this example, again, very, very simple, but can keep someone independent. You also see one thing that oh, I didn't mean to do that. Let's see if I can bring this back. One thing that the Ropox support arm has is that you'll see it has this feature here, which is actually designed so that a person can kind of walk themselves up into a stance. You see the support arm has that elevated feature to it, and that feature is designed so that a person can walk themselves up into a stance, which is very, very nice. And then both of them have all sorts of gadgets that you can add to the support arm for paper holders. You have here, I call this a joystick holder, which I like, which allows a person, if they're having difficulty getting on and off the commode, they can actually grab onto this joystick holder here and can help to pull themselves up. Much, much safer, more hygienic, just a better and safer option, and can easily be installed into the home. And then you see here, sorry, I got this. Wish the way I could minimize it. You can see here where here we have a person in a wheelchair that wants to remain independent, doing a lateral transfer, much, much safer. And then here, this picture really gives a good example on how when you have that support arm with the elevated feature, it enables you to walk yourself up safely into a standing position. And so if you are working with a home, if you're a home designer, if you are a bathroom designer, letting your clientele know that these types of products are available, and there may be several others too. These are just two of the companies that I'm familiar with that I know do excellent, excellent work. This doesn't take long. It's not expensive, but it can make a very, very big difference in a person's life. moving on, I wanted to just briefly touch on sinks, where if you're working with a client and maybe you're developing a bathroom for an elderly couple, a person that has disabilities, height adjustable sinks can be another really good option. Again, they're not nearly as expensive as people think. They are all designed to work with standard plumbing, and a lot of them, in my opinion, especially the press-lit models, are really, really beautiful. This here is a press-lit model. This sink is height adjustable. You can see here that it has a crank here, so you can crank it up and just turn the crank to move it up and down. There are other versions which are motorized, where you just press a button and the sink will move up and down. They're very, very nice. Here, I'm going to play this. And this comes from Press.
Introducing the Matrix Medium, a wash basin built on years of experience.
My name is Anne Mette. I'm an industrial designer and I work at Presalit Care in Denmark. The challenge for wheelchair users at an ordinary sink is getting access to the water because there's no room for the legs and no room for footrests of the wheelchair. Products for people with disabilities are often stigmatizing, and with this product we really wanted to make something that's both practical and also aesthetically pleasing.
And the result was the Matrix Medium wash basin, a wash basin that meets all the essential needs of the user.
The new Matrix Medium is designed to suit all users, both users in wheelchairs and standing users. If we look at the integrated handles, they are designed to be comfortable and easy to grip. They're really stable and help you keep your balance while you're washing your hands. Looking right at the bottom, you also see that there's room for your feet, so you can get very close to the sink and reach the faucet. Using the grab bars, it's easy for me to pull myself towards the sink. And on each side of me there's plenty of space for my elbows, which will help me keep my balance while washing my face or my hands. This space also provides plenty of room for storage to keep my cosmetics or soap. The curved front reduces the distance between the user and the faucet, making it easier to wash your hands, especially for people with disabilities in their arms. In the Matrix Medium, there's a high focus on hygiene all around the sink. If we look inside, there's rounded corners that make sure that the sink does not collect any dirt. And when we look at the front, we both have the integrated handles in one material, and then we have the integrated electrical panel to height adjust the sink. Also, the cover is totally flush with the surface of the sink, making it easy to wipe with the cloth. With all these hygienic details, the Matrix Medium will reduce the spread of bacteria and the risk of infection.
For time purposes here, I'm going to just move along. Those sinks are also very popular with children. If you're dealing with a family and they have a child that has disabilities, a lot of times you'll find where there may be like a children's restroom, and there may be one child will have disabilities, the other child won't, and having that height adjustable feature works beautifully for that family. So there are a number of applications where that can help when you're designing a private home and you're working with a family. And so this version here, this is from Ropox, and I like this version because what's really neat about this particular model is that the customer can choose their own wash basin. So if you'll notice on the back design of this, you see we have this white box here, which of course you can paint any color you want. You can design a home where all they essentially have to purchase is this white box, and then they can choose any sink or any faucet that they want, and it's designed to work with all of the standard sink manufacturers. And so then you can see the model will move in. And with this one, the button is on the side here. But a lot of people like this because increasingly styling becomes important. And so if you're working with a color theme And you have customers that are that really want one particular type of sink or something. With this particular model, you can do that while maintaining that height adjustability feature. Moving on here, when we're talking about other areas in the bathroom where there are potential for falls, the shower area is it's either 1 or 1A, depending upon the data that you're looking at between the commode and the shower. The important thing to remember here is that if you are designing a shower and if you are putting in a shower bench or shower seat, there is no reason why that shower seat can't be height adjustable. At this point, there are a number of companies that will put that have shower seats that are indicated to fantastic weights. But when you have that height adjustability factor within the shower, number one, it means that people of different mobility levels and different sizes can use the shower chair properly and safely. And number two, if they have to do transfers, when you can adjust the shower chair up and down, it makes for transfers in the shower much, much easier. Now, this is something that when I'm privileged enough to be a part of a design, whether it's in a private home or if it's in a facility, I always like to point out in that I hope that you can see the advantages of having a shower seat or a shower bench that is height adjustable. It just makes, you have wheelchairs and people of various heights, various mobility levels. And so being able to move that around move that up and down is very advantageous. Secondly, as you can see here, when you're thinking about your designs, whenever possible, I don't like to have the shower chair jammed into the corner. And a lot of that is very similar to the issues with the commode, in that when the shower chair is jammed into the corner, it means that there's potential where a person will have to do a weak side transfer. And so if you're designing a shower area, let's say, and you're not aware in terms of how your client does their transfer, and you just design a shower area similar to this, then you could be putting your user at a potential disadvantage. And a lot of times this is done in a shower area because you always want to have them as close to the faucet as possible so they can control the water and stuff. But whenever possible, you want to make sure that there is enough space around the shower area so that if you're working in a public setting, it's possible to do transfers from both the left and the right-hand side. And if you're working in the home especially, you want to make sure that they're doing that transfer where they're leading from the strong side. And that's why, if you'll notice the example here, where we have the shower chair and the shower chair is out and away from the wall, that way you can see with the grayed out area, we were able to do transfers from all sides so that our people that we're working with are able to do transfers safely. Now, to help alleviate this issue about getting closer potentially to the faucet area, Presolite has that wall track feature, which works really well, and it allows you to move the shower chair not just up and down, but you can also move it laterally. And so you can move the shower chair from side to side, so you can potentially move your user closer to the faucet, away from the faucet. It just gives you that added flexibility in an area that is a dangerous area in the home, to make sure that each individual user is in the safest environment possible. This is another video here that I'm going to play real quick that just shows some of the features of the shower area. Again, remember, they come in a wide variety of different colors. You can get them manually. This one here has a remote that goes up and down. This one, the support arms, you can see the support arms go up and down, and you can pull them into the wall. One issue I forgot to mention is that these shower chairs and shower benches, they also fold up. So if you're working in an environment where maybe you might have a standing user and a seated user that both want to take a shower from a space standpoint, because that shower chair folds up, it makes it easier for the space. And these products work really well. In my view, especially because products can look really, really nice. I've seen these put in a lot of homes, and they have made very, very big. And making sure that your clientele project parties aware that their marketing is upgraded is very, very, very. Move this out of the way. So, again, why this is important, it's because people want to be at home. As you can see on the screen here, this comes from AARP, where they showed that 75% of people ages 50 and older want to live at home for the remainder of their lives. You are not going to run into a lot of people that say, I can't wait to turn 75 and move into an assisted living facility. I can't wait to go to that nursing home. I'm counting down the days. I've never seen that. That just doesn't exist. And so being aware and being well-versed in this topic and having just a couple of tools in your tool bag that can help this expanding demographic so that they can remain in their homes independently and safely. Not only will it benefit you, but it'll benefit your customers as well. This is another, I call it a Google slide, about the benefits of aging in place. There are now a lot of studies and a lot of data that shows that people live longer when they're in their own homes. If you can get a home that is properly committed to aging in place, they are happier, they are healthier longer. There are an infinite number of benefits to remaining in your own home if you have the proper tools to do it safely. And part of the reason why I do this, why I work with Steve, why I'm a member of CAPS, is because I want to put the word out that this is the way to go. And everyone talks about cost and everything. The measures that I show you, there's no solution that I've shown you here that costs $10,000 or $20,000. The Ropox sink, for example, all you have to do is buy the backing and you can put your own sink in that you wanted to put in the first place. It doesn't always have to be this gargantuan redesign. A lot of this stuff is just find the stud in the wall and you're good to go. With that, I wanted to try to get done in my allotted time at 12 o'clock. So I was able to do that. I probably should have moved this out of the way a little bit, but I just wanted to thank you all for being a part of the audience today. I really appreciate it. I enjoy giving these presentations. And so with that, I will turn it back over to Steve and open it up to any questions or comments. Again, the two companies that I featured here are Ropox and Presolite. I know people that work with both companies. They are both fantastic. If you are working with a project or design and you think that they might be helpful with this, both Steve and I can put you in contact with the right people.
And Herman, you anticipated so many questions and answered them preemptively. So I don't know if we have a lot more, but let's see if we do. Anybody have a question for Herman?
Yeah, and I'm sorry, I should have done a better job taking this People probably didn't want to see themselves. I don't know if we could take this, how I move this. up
That's
there.
all right. I can move that out of the way, but no,
Okay,
it's
there we
fine.
go.
It's
Okay.
fine. You're good. Any questions, comments? This great presentation, very thorough, covered. Like I say, you anticipated a lot of comments and questions.
This in the chat.
Oh, there's a heart. There's somebody who loved the presentation. That's good. That's good to see. Okay. Well, we will have you back again. Oh, let's see. We have a couple in the chat box.
Does that,
I didn't see those. Let's see what we have down here. Oh, here we go. Oh, great information.
okay.
Thanks for the all of the information. That's good.
Well, I will take it. Thank you very much.
All right. Well, if there's nothing specific, watch for our additional programs. We have another program coming up next month in April, and we have this calendar year. We have 10 of these. This is our second one, so there's 8 more to go. And we have one on designing for a dementia-friendly home. We have let's see, we have I have to look at the list, but several other categories of aging in place design friendly homes and things to consider. And if you have a topic that you'd like to see, they say, gosh, I don't think anybody's ever done a program on this, and I can't do it, but I'd like to see somebody else do it, or I can participate in doing one, let me know, and we'll see what we can arrange. And with that, I think we'll stop the recording and